without the community involvement, the police department's only as strong as the citizens get involved.
What we're looking for is that magic phone call for somebody to call in and say, hey, this is what I saw, this is whom I saw, and this is the information that I need to give you.
Like most urban areas, Chicago and its surrounding cities have had a number of unsolved crimes that the public may be able to help solve. I'm Lisette Guillen, and this is Crime Stoppers Case Files. The purpose of this program is to shine a light on unsolved cases in an effort to get you, the public, involved. If you know anything about any of the cases you see today, call Cook County Crime Stoppers at 1-800-535-STOP. You can remain anonymous and be eligible for a cash reward. Now, let's get right to work. On August 26, 2011, East Chicago officers were responding to a call about suspicious activity. That call quickly took a turn for the worse. As they arrived, they found two victims, Timothy Pearson beaten and Drake Morris Jr. dead. Here's their story.
Drake was very caring, and everybody, people liked him. He was a very caring person, and there's nothing, he wouldn't do for his friends. He had 4 children. He always been crazy about his kids, and when they have parent days at school and stuff, and he's not around now to be there for our support.
The morning of August 26, 2011, I get called by dispatcher saying that they have a male that was shot in the chest twice and wanted me to come out on a possible homicide. As I get to the scene, I speak with supervisors, and as I enter the residence, I see a body in almost like a fetal position, but I recognize who it is from previous police contact. A subject by the name of Drake Morris Jr. Was lying dead on the floor. Tim Pearson is sitting there. He tells me the story that a night out of drinking with him and his cousin, Drake Morris, the club closed about 3. They left the club at 3. They go to Adrian's house to get some ice so they can continue drinking. And as he gets to the house, he says he's rushed by 2 guys at the door who sticks a gun to his back. In an effort not to saying that he was opening the door fast enough, he gets hits on top of the head of the first time. The second hit busts his head open, which he starts to bleed. He says he finally goes in the door, and they push him in the door, the 2 guys. Well, left in the car is his cousin, Drake Morris. Tim says he doesn't know how Drake ended up in the house. All he knows is that he got away from the guys in the house and ran to the bedroom. And the first story that Tim tells me is that he was in the house by himself, that it was just him. He doesn't say that his girlfriend was in the house. But later, as we found out, Adrian was in the bedroom, and she was awakened by Tim because he was running from an apparent suspect who was at the bedroom door with a gun. He tries to get in the door, but he never shoots in the door. Tim holds him off with the door, and then all of a sudden, the guy disappears, and he hears 2 gunshots. On August 26, 2011, I was called out to a crime scene on a suspicious shooting. As I get to the scene, I speak with supervisors, and we go over the crime scene, and the first thing I notice is a red or burgundy Mustang in the driveway, a pool of blood at the entrance of the door. I find a male black there that is known as Drake Morris Jr., who had 2 gunshot wounds to the chest. Tim Pearson tells me the story that a night out of drinking with him and his cousin, Drake Morris, they go to Adrian's house so they can continue drinking. He says he's rushed by 2 guys at the door. He gets hits on top of the head. He says he finally goes in the door. Tim says he doesn't know how Drake ended up in the house. All he knows is that he got away from the guys in the house and ran to the bedroom. Adrian was in the bedroom, and she was awakened by Tim because he was running from an apparent suspect. At this time, Adrian tells him, "I think I heard the front door." Whereas they come out the room, they see Drake Morris Jr. on the floor, and no one else is in the house. Tim, at this time, gives her some things in a plastic bag, and she leaves. She said, I can't take this. Tim, you need to call the police. So subsequently, between the shooting and the time that the police were called was maybe a half hour. Well, Adrian lies and says that she was never at the house. And then when she comes to find out that Tim has already told on her and said that, yes, she was in the house and that he was protecting her, then she comes out and says, yes, he gave me a bag. She's not for sure what's in it, but she says she takes $1,500 out of the bag. She knows there was cash in it, some pills, maybe some marijuana. And she says she throws it in a dumpster. We find the dumpster, but there's no black plastic bag, and there's no $1,500 that we recover. The two witnesses that we have from this are Adrian Paynes and Tim Pearson. We do forensics. We get back most of the blood in the house is Tim's. We find no other footprints in the blood except for Tim's. No other footprints leading from the house, not even Adrian's, leading from the house. We have no other witnesses besides them at this time, and it comes down that this might have been a robbery that went bad. There at the scene, people start to gather, and I start to talk to witnesses or people out front to see if they had heard anything or seen anything, and no one heard anything except for a neighbor. The next door neighbor said he heard 2 gunshots, and as he looked out the window, he seen a male black run from the residence across the street into an alley. He couldn't recognize the subject. He didn't get a visual of the face. He just knew it was a male black subject wearing dark clothing running across the street. The vehicles in question were a classic 65 blue Cadillac, which belonged to Tim Pearson, which was actually parked in front of the house during the incident, but was missing when we came. Come to find out, the girlfriend took the vehicle and left the scene. The red Mustang belonged to Adrian Paynes, the owner of the house, and that was the car that Tim Pearson and Drake Morris, our 2 victims, were in.
You know, you look on TV and you see a lot of different crimes going on through families like you see in Chicago. I'm always looking on the news, you know, this child got killed, this child got shot, this one got shot, and, you know, I always feel for it. But, you know, it's a different thing when it hits home. It's very difficult for me. It's not a day that goes by that, you know, I don't think about, you know, what went on. I thought that I was in Wizard of Oz. You know, it's a dream, and I just want this to be solved. This, you know, it's already, you know, devastating enough that he's not here. My son was taken away from me, but the real hurting part is, you know, there's no closure, and that eats me up every day. If anybody have any information concerning the death of my son, please call Crime Stoppers or, you know, get in touch with East Chicago Police. My family has suffered tremendously. His kids is suffering tremendously. We need to get some closure with this information and what happened. And if anybody out there withholding information, we're asking you to, you know, you can stay anonymous and just give them a call, and we appreciate it very much.
At this time, we have 2 suspects in mind, but if you have any information to this incident, I can be reached at the East Chicago Police Department at 219-391-8306, or you can also leave a message on the East Chicago tip line, 219-391-8500. And you can also call Crime Stoppers, where you will always remain anonymous.